Well, like I said, they basically realize as they're leaving, they know that they got to go to Drekmore to probably see what's going on or something like that. I got to remember watching it. But they realize that the only reason the Glen was destroyed, why Dunwin's been conquered, is because the ogres got gummy berry juice. So they stop the supply of the gummy berry juice, and at the same time all this is happening, Grammy and Tummy sneak into a barrel and basically get themselves rowed out of Drekmore into freedom, except they can't get out of the barrel because it's being kind of like hammered down shut. So basically, what happens is the Gummy, Sunny, Calvin, and Cubby stop the juice run, or interrupt the juice run, but as they're being chased by the ogres, the Barbics come in along with Zummy to save them, because Zummy overhears the cries for help, goes to save them, and basically what happens overall is everybody's reunited. You know, the Barbics are able to chase off Toadie and the ogres. They discover Grammy and Tummy in one of the barrels, and basically they finally come up with one last plan to put an end to Igthorn's reign, and that's one, free Gusto and Gruffy, who were captured, as well as the knights, as well as have Tummy, Grammy, Sunny, and Cubby go back to Drekmore and destroy the juice factory. So, again, that's what they do, and overall, they accomplish everything that I mentioned, and they're able to not only save the Great Gummies, almost at the expense of Zummy's life, almost at the expense of his life, almost at the expense of his life, if you will. But he does, because he does survive. Like I said, almost at the expense of his life. They're able to save the Great Gummies and basically turn the tide in their favor, as well as in Gregor's favor, who I guess does finally see the Gummies for the first time. I'm not really sure. They don't indicate it. They don't indicate it, but it's obvious he does see them, so he knows they exist. So what happens is it turns it in their favor, and he battles Igthorn sword to sword, and finally gets Igthorn to relinquish his crown back to him, and basically Igthorn has to escape back to Drekmore. Now, all this happens, and basically in the end, as soon as Igthorn goes into his castle, it basically shoots up like a rocket. All the ogres and everything are leaving, and as soon as they leave, the Drekmore castle gets shot up due to the sabotage by Tummy, Grammy, and Sunny and Cubby. It gets shot up like a rocket into the atmosphere, basically straight to the moon, and basically Igthorn, is finally done. He's finally finished. And basically the conclusion is, basically it ends with a lesson, if you will, which is strange, that Zummy says, hey, we can't turn, no matter what happens, we can never turn our backs against, evil. And basically they do get a message from the Great Gummy saying, hey, we will come back soon. And that basically ends the series. Now what's funny about the positioning in airing of this episode was it airs, like I said, around Labor Day and New Year's because of that marathon and all that. But according to the episode guide, it airs like maybe almost, I don't know how many episodes into the sixth season, but I think it's about maybe 6, 7 episodes ahead of other episodes to come after it. Yeah, there are other episodes to come after it, like Right Stuff. And most of these are 30-minute episodes. Like Right Stuff. something with the, I can't think of the name right now. Rocking Chair Bear, I think, is another one. It's just a lot of these things, a lot of other episodes take place afterwards. Now, I can understand something like Rocking Chair Bear taking place because you don't have Igthorn in it, and you can think, okay, it takes place. But here's the thing, all these things take place in the Glen, except for Right Stuff. So, overall though, the series is a very, very good series. There's no doubt about it. Running for about 6 seasons, very good. It was a very good season. But there are some people that say it could have benefited from one more season. Yeah. People say it could have benefited from one more season. Basically, some look at the King Igthorn miniseries and they say, you know what? They could have done this as a 3-parter. They could have done this as a direct-to-video movie. Or they could have done a complete 7th season. And what they mean by that is you could have really built up to anticipation to basically to the where you would, and I can understand maybe where they're coming with the 7th season deal by saying, hey, you know, have him have King Igthorn Part 1 and 2, or have the King Igthorn thing start off the 7th season, and then have the Gummies along with the Barbics and the human allies basically have them use the 7th season as to sort of build to that climax to finally get the kingdom back and finally defeat Igthorn. That's where I see they're coming from. And I can also see where they come from with a 3-parter. Because they feel, some have said that the finale, the series finale was kind of time flawed. In other words, it was rushed. That so much more could have been done. As a matter of fact, there are some people over at fanfiction.net that do their own extended versions of the finale. Hold on for a second. But again, like I said, there are some people over at fanfiction.net that do their own extended versions of the finale by basically adding in certain scenes of like, like this is like in the original, Gusto gives Artie the note that Gummy typed up for the Great Gummies. He gives it to Artie, his toucan pet or pal, to take to Usaida for Sir Thornberry to basically, you know, use the gummy scope to say, hey, come on home, it's safe now. And what one person does at fanfiction.net is they actually add in an additional scene that not only involves the Barbics, but also involves a character not in the miniseries or in the finale, and that's Buddy. Now, Buddy Barbic was basically about the same age, around the same age as Sunny, maybe in between Sunny and Cubby age. And I like how they added him into the mix with this extended fan fiction version of what King Igthorn could have been, of what the finale could have been. I mean, I like that. I like how they add that in, and it allows more of an it allows you to basically kind of see something that I agree could have easily been done if maybe it was a 3-parter or maybe even a movie finale, if you will. And that's kind of see the Barbic's reaction, mostly Ursa's reaction to what the Glens were doing. It basically what this person does is, basically what this person does is kind of allow us to see what the Barbic's reaction is, especially Ursa and Gritty's reaction is, to what the Glen Gummies are doing. And I like how this person adds in the fact that Gritty's the one that explains to Ursa, we may not see eye to eye, but the thing is, it's their job, the Glen Gummies' job, to let the Great Gummies know when it's safe to come back. So, and the thing about this is I like how this writer kind of has Ursa and Gritty kind of like on pins and needles, kind of like yeah, it just seems too good to be true. Just, something just does not feel right about this kind of deal. It just does not. Basically, I like how they kind of give them that paranoia. Well, not just paranoia, but that feeling of something's not right here. Something's not adding up. If you know what I mean. So you got people doing that with the King Igthorn finale, and kind of in fan fiction, kind of showing what it could have been, and then kind of saying that it could have done more could have been done with it had they made it a 3-parter, maybe a direct-to-video movie, or even the beginning of a 7th season, where, like I said, they could have used that season to build up to a final battle and climax to get the kingdom back. So, and the one thing about this, like I said in the first video, a lot of fans look at King Igthorn just like they do Hunter's Moon, just like they look at the Gargoyles series finale, the first Gargoyles series finale, Hunter's Moon, and they look at King Igthorn in the same way as being, it opens the door, if you will. It keeps an open door for possibly new adventures, new stories, and whatever. And there's a lot of people at fanfiction.net and some of the Gummy Bear fan-related websites that have done just that. They have wrote stories that take place almost after King Igthorn, sort of in their own 7th season kind of deal, which I think is kind of cool. I really do. It's kind of cool. I really look at it like that. But to me, I've always thought there was more to this show. I really did. They could have been, I do agree, they could have done more. Not just with another season, but I do agree that they could do more with a movie if they have ever considered doing a movie. Now, I think they were going to do a movie, honestly. I really think they were. You got to remember back in 1990, Disney Movie Tunes Studios, or Disney, along with the Movie Tunes division at the time, had released DuckTales, the movie. Now, the plan was to do, obviously, more DuckTale movies, theatrical movies, as well as the Rescue Ranger theatrical movie, and basically other theatrical films based on Disney Afternoon properties. And I truly believe Gummy Bears was going to be one of those properties. I really do. And I believe, honestly, this is my honest opinion, that if a movie had been done or will be done, basically this is my honest opinion, if a movie had been made, or someday down the line does become a reality, which, we don't know when, how, when, or where. But Gummy Bears, actually, believe it or not, according to one online poll, Lee actually got the most votes to have a movie done about it. I'm not lying. It actually got the most votes as being the one show out of the 80s, I think, amongst other shows, to want to see a movie be made of. But anyway, like I said, if a movie had been made, or if it ever does get made in the future, I look at it like this. Now, some people can disagree with me on this, but these are my opinions. You look at Cubby and Sunny, right? Well, I think if a movie was ever to be made, they would go in the same direction that Disney did, Disney would go in the same direction that they did with the Goofy movie, which is essentially Goof Troop the movie, right? They would age the characters. Now you might say, well, what difference would that make? Well, I always look at it like this. I believe, in reality, Cubby and Sunny are not that far in age. I believe, if anything, they're probably half a year apart. Though, half a year, or at least a year and a half apart. Kind of like me and my cousin. See, my cousin was born in December of 1977. I was born in July of 1979. So basically, she's a year and a half older than me. And that's how I kind of look at the whole situation with Cubby and Sunny. I mean, why would they always get along together? I mean, yeah, people could say, well, they're kind of like brother and sister. That's true, but I think, in all honesty, would a brother and a sister always play together as much as they did, or stick together with each other as much as they did? Well, yeah, maybe. But the way they played and hung out together was more along the lines of best friends. And true, I mean, one of the things about the show is they kind of put Sunny in situations where, yeah, she didn't mind being with Cubby, but she also wanted to have her independence. She wanted to grow up and do her own thing. But what's funny about that is Cubby wanted the same thing as well. There were times he wanted the same thing. He didn't mind being with Sunny, but he wanted to do his own thing. So to me, I truly believe, in my own honest opinion, that if a movie was ever made, or would be ever made, then not only would they age Cubby and Sunny almost to about basically identically the same size, maybe Cubby a little taller, if you will, or a bit taller, but as crazy as it sounds, they would basically have Cubby and Sunny end up together. I'm not lying. That's just my opinion. That's why I feel it. Now you might say, well, they have Buddy, they have Gusto. Here's the way I look at Buddy. Buddy, yes, is a potential. There's no doubt about it. But like I said, he's between the ages of Cubby and Sunny. He's probably about, if you want to look at it from a realistic standpoint, probably a half a year younger than Sunny. Maybe a half a year older, I'm not sure. But I believe, honestly, he does have potential, but I don't think it would suit Sunny that well. That'd be more like a Romeo and Juliet kind of deal, if you know what I mean. And you don't want to, and knowing Disney, they've done that before, but they've usually stuck with something that works. It's like, okay, you look at Aladdin. As soon as Aladdin, you see, okay, basically when you see the characters of Aladdin and Jasmine, you know they're going to end up together. Alright? You know that. And as soon as you see Sunny and Cubby, yeah, smaller and all that, but they hang out a lot, they're best friends, you know eventually probably Disney would have them end up together, whether you agree with it or not. Now again, like I said, I'm not saying they wouldn't do the same thing with Buddy. That's a potential there. Or even Gusto. But here's the thing with Gusto and Buddy. As potential as they would be for, let's say, putting Sunny with, or put together with Sunny, I truly believe, knowing Disney, if they were to either revive the series and continue it off from King Igthorn, because it can be done, or even do a movie, that they would introduce two new female Gummies. One that was about Gusto's age, and one that would be perfectly suited for Buddy. That's how I look at it. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it. And besides, when you take a look at, let's say, Rocking Chair Bear, for example, the ending there, you know, now the Gummies basically want to kind of now treat her with a little respect, like, hey, you know, you want to help me out with this, you want me to finish this, you know, and all that. But instead, Sunny decides, you know what, nah, I'm going to be myself still. I'm going to stick being a kid. And she goes plays with Cubby. What does that tell you? She'd rather play with him. To me, basically, as strange as it sounds, I've always had this feeling as a fan of the show, because I've watched it for almost 30 years, that if they did a movie, or if they revived it as a new series, a continuation, maybe years later, they would end up having Sunny and Cubby getting together. Whether you like to hear it or not, it's the truth. Whether you like to hear it or not, it's a flat-out truth. And I know people are like, well, that's not possible. There's no way they would allow that to happen. Well, guess what? They would. You can believe it or not, but they would. All right? I mean, it's kind of like with Hunchback of Notre Dame. All right? You think, okay, you watch it and you say to yourself, there's no way. Okay, not Hunchback of Notre Dame, but you kind of get the idea. Like Hunchback, you hope for Esmeralda and Quasimodo, right? But instead you get Phoebus and Esmeralda, which makes sense. But then you take a look at Lion King, getting back to that as an example. Lion King basically has, when the cubs, you have Simba and Nala basically acknowledge that, we can't, be married, or we can't be betrothed or fianced. You know, we're best friends, we're buddies. We're pals. We don't look into that whole romance thing. We play tackle with each other. We kind of play the pounce tackle game with each other. We can't end up together as a couple. It's not possible. But guess what? Just because they said that as kids, guess what happens? Exactly. They end up together when they grow up. And I apologize for that. Apologize for that. That's basically a bill calling all the time. I don't know why. They just won't leave us alone. Or leave my mom alone. But anyway, you take a look at Lion King, and it's the perfect example of cubs basically saying, hey, look, we're cubs. We're best friends. We're cubs. We're best friends. Acknowledging the fact that, they're not going to, get married. They're not going to be fiancés. They're not going to fall in love. And guess what happens when they get older? And exactly, they fall in love. And they have a kid. Alright? The point I'm trying to make here is, whether you agree, if you agree with me or not, that's fine. But the way I look at it, I've always looked at that as a possibility. Now again, I'm not ruling out Buddy as a possibility. I'm not ruling out Gusto, but I think Disney, if they were to revive the show, continue it maybe years after the original, or even do a movie, I truly believe they would create new female gummies for Gusto, specifically for Gusto and for Buddy. I truly believe that. That's just my opinion. And I'm sticking with it. But that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it, and again, I'm sticking with it. Whether you agree with it or you don't, I'm sticking with it. So, overall, Gummy Bears is a great classic Disney show that I truly believe does deserve a revival, even if it's a revival that has the gummies years older than what they are. I truly think it belongs, I think it truly deserves a movie as well. And it's definitely worth checking out. So go on YouTube, you can find the finale, King Igthorn, either it's pieced together as one movie or it's separate. Check it out, it's really good. Buy the DVD as well as the first 3 seasons, and I think possibly Disney Movie Club may be considering seasons 4 to 6 as the next release as well. But check out the Gummy Bears. They're really, really good. It's a very good show, very classic show. It basically started the trend of good Disney quality animated shows on television. So definitely check it out. And that's what I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say for this cartoon flashback. HD edition, Cartoon Flashback HD on the Gummy Bears. Sorry this was in 2 parts. I just had a lot to get off my chest as a fan. And comment below, take your time in watching this. Again, comment below, take your time watching this video. Well, I guess you can't video response anymore. Provide a video link response in the comments if you like. And I will talk to you all later. God bless. Take care.